on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of season 4 here. Today is a little bit of a different episode. We are going to be bringing you guys through a whole boot fitting with my dad, Papa Joe, up at Cole Sports with Dude. I feel like the boot fitting process can be a little abstract. It's like, what does boot fitting actually mean? Dude was kind enough to let me film, and we're gonna go through the whole 90-minute process, get Joe fitted on his brand new boots.
I always have a custom footbed. The last footbed Dude made really 2 years ago, so it's still in good shape. He checked it and thought it was fine. Then we're actually reinstalling the boot heaters, which I think are a huge part of getting the boot snug really the way it needs to be, so I'm not getting cold toes, cold feet in there. I can ski a much tighter boot if I'm getting heat in the boot. I've had surgery on both ankles and have developed old age changes in my bones or my feet, so molding the boot is going to, again, alleviate the pressure points. So right now, the first step is getting the footbed right to fit in the boot, and then we'll work on molding the shell, which the nice part of these Solomon boots, they do have a moldable shell, not just the liner, and then from there, they'll pressure point whatever he needs to do to correct any hot spots in the boot.
Slide all the way back.
Yep.
And all the way to the outside.
Yep. I'm not standing there.
So we have all the usual suspects going on here. I think we're going to need to blow your ankle and your navicular out, and then probably your first met head, maybe a little over here. And we're going to try to do it with the shell molding.
Yep.
But I have a feeling we're going to go back in and touch a few spots up. And the other good thing is that when we went up a size, this boot runs a little shorter than your old boot. Okay, good. So it's going to have you in the middle of where you were. Like your toes aren't going to do this anymore.
Yeah. No black toes. You see,
yeah.
They literally healed. I went to a podiatrist, and he said your toes look like they've been traumatized. What is it from?
So what we just did with Joe is that we shell sized him. So we're checking his the size of the boot lengthwise, as well as the width of the boot and any pressure points we might have in there. In Joe's case, he's got a pretty prominent medial ankle. We know we're probably going to have to blow that out a little bit, give him some room in there. Navicular, first met head, all those areas are going to be areas of pressure. So we're gonna heat mold the shell, but I don't think we're gonna get everything we need out of it. So we'll go back and do some spot punching after that. The plastic that they use in the Solomon boots is a very heat-sensitive plastic, and probably like 8-ish minutes we'll keep them in there, and then it's going to make the plastic stretch and mold very easily. So when I put Joe back in the boot, the pressure, like any part of his foot that needs a little room, it's going to push the shell kind of automatically.
Do all boots have a moldable shell though?
Technically, no, but if you got something, I mean, I could take any shell and put it in the oven, and it might change a little bit, but some plastics are much more stubborn than others and won't necessarily react. Like a race boot wouldn't do hardly anything in the oven. But like a Grillamid, like those lighter weight touring boots, they would probably actually move quite a bit. Floppy. And then grab that little handle on the back of the liner and yank on that.
Feel snug?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a nice happy medium between where you were and
coming back.
Yeah, I want to throw those in there because they're going to go to somebody.
I'm going to go get some ice packs, put on those so they cool down a little quicker. Up this foot. And step down. Good.
How's Tristan? He's good. Well, yeah, he went to in LA.
Oh, that's cool. So now Joe literally just has to kind of sit here, and he's staying in his aggressive ski stance, so the boot really molds to as much as he can to the body position that he's going to be in when he's actually skiing. So
I can see we got room there.
Yeah, it grew. I don't have I have no discomfort there. I mean, a little bit right here,
Okay.
And I mean a little bit, but
If you get a shot here, you can actually see how the boot sort of popped out a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I have no discomfort through there at all. I have a little bit right in there, and I don't mean, you know, we're splitting hairs. I mean, on a scale of 0 to 10, I'd give it a pressure of 2.
Okay.
Right there. Could it be insignificant? Maybe, but
If you feel it here, you're going to feel it on the tail.
yeah, no.
So yeah, I say we give you a little bump there.
Yeah.
Both feet or just the right one?
No, just the right one.
Okay.
Right. And it was kind of there, but I feel really secure right through here.
Okay.
No, there's nothing through there at all.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed with how much moved there.
Yeah.
Okay, slide all the way back.
Yep. And I can still feel it. It's right there.
Yep.
Yeah, skosh back, just literally.
I'm pretty centered on it right now.
Okay. Yeah, you mark it where you need to, but I'm saying right where, because that's got to be the high point of what you do. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Cool, you can see this really nicely where that navicular area really popped well just with the regular oven heating. But the first mat head area didn't really move as much as we wanted it to, so we're going to come back with a little heat just in that one area right there. We're just going to spot punch that area. So he said it was like a 2 out of 10. So I'm not going to fully clamp down on that. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a push.
Wow. Dang.
So we'll see how that does. Hope that's enough room. This will sometimes retract a little bit too. So sometimes we'll go a little bit bigger than we know it's going to go back to. So it's already started to recess a little bit in there. All right, let's go try it on.
Any better?
Yeah, definitely better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a big hole right there.
A big what?
You can see. That
Oh,
really pushed it out.
Oh yeah. I think you said a big hole.
Yeah.
No, I feel like it's definitely better. I mean, I want to ski it. I don't want him to do any more right now because it's going to just grow anyway. But it's not like a hot spot. It's just more a smoother pressure point. But,
So then I started coming out
yeah,
here.
I mean, he made a big difference. I didn't even realize how big that is right there.
So I think Joe had a little bit more pressure on the instep, which is sort of the top of the foot. So I think now the plan is dude is going to just sort of work that top area a little bit. I think the key is going a little bit at a time, not going too much, because you can always make the boot bigger. Tough to make the boot smaller. Would you say it's like the instep? Is that where you had the issue? This time right here?
Yeah, it's sort of the lower part of the instep. So normally the instep comes in right around in here on the boot. So he's feeling it just a little bit below that, but we'd still call it the instep area. So what we're doing here is we're marking the center of Joe's overall knee, not just the patella, but the overall knee.
And if you got any closer, kind of how big of a spread do you want? Right. And then
So like on this knee, you can already see his patella kind of points over towards you, Lucas. So that's definitely not going to be the center of his patella. So he sort of externally rotates here where this patella is a lot straighter.
Wow.
Even in some boot-worthy shops, I think that's a step that is oftentimes missed.
Okay.
Mass merchants are not going to do that at all.
Okay.
Sweet. And you're going to step into these trays. If you want those poles for balance, you're welcome to grab them, but I'm going to hold you up.
you can ski anything. I've done black diamond mobiles on that one GS, but
If you want, you can go ski it and figure out what's going on, but that ski should be super inside edgy.
Yeah, it is in general. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that's probably 2.5 degrees-ish, but I don't know that we'll get 2.5 degrees out of that. Go ahead and step out of this one for a second. So that looks good. It's sort of pushed that one out a little bit, so we're going to try a 1/2 degree under that side.
Quads are looking kind of small.
So I want that dot in the center of this medial half here. So the line corresponds to basically what would be the seam of the boot. But ideally I want that right where it is, right in the center of that medial half. If we take this shim away, go ahead and step out and go back in. You can see how far out his knee is. And so what'll happen, so you're standing kind of like this, and this leg doesn't like to be out there like that, so you're going to roll it in, and then takes that ski and tips it on its inside edge, and it's going to be really hard to get off that inside edge. So 2 degrees seems to look good, and when we do 2 degrees here, ½ degree over there is kind of what I see. Kind of, since we have time to work, I'd kind of like you to go ski, see what's going on. If we do any other modifications in the boot, it might let one foot sit a little flatter in there, which might, bring the knee with it. So before we do anything permanent to the sole of the boot, I'd like you to ski on it.
I'm feeling better even on it right now. I'm not like right now. I would not have you change anything in the boot. Just being in my, cause you know how it goes. There was a pressure point when we started. 5-10 minutes wasn't enough for it to go away. But right now, I'm not feeling like I need you to do anything more to the boot blowout at all.
Okay. Then if you want, we can just go ahead and cant it.
Yeah. I think we're not going to be far away from that at all.
Okay. What I'm trying to do here is if Joe is going to stand naturally kind of like this on his skis, we're trying to distribute the pressure evenly on both skis. So when we're shimming his boot, we're going to put the fat side of the shim on the outside. That's going to create more pressure, balancing the pressure out on that left ski. So it's not changing anything with him. It's not changing anything with the boot. It's physically changing the ski's relationship to the snow. So he's on 2 flat skis in a relaxed stance.
So quite literally, it's like when you have to get an alignment on your car, like something's just not right. Your wheel is sort of kind of bent in the wrong way, and it ultimately will create bad driving and stuff like that. That's really what Dude just did with Joe by checking his actual alignment. And that's what I was kind of asking Dude. Like, I think this is something that you might not necessarily get at just a big box sort of ski shop or boot fitter. So kind of the whole second step of this is actually checking out your individual alignment and literally shimming you by 1-2 degrees. So very, very small adjustments, but something that's going to make it so when you're on the skis, you're actually neutral across the edges and you're not sort of kind of bent in on one side, which will just sort of give you this skewed ski style, if that makes sense. So really, really rad to actually see it happen and see how Dude kind of measured the angle from Joe's knee right down to the center of the boot and all that sort of stuff.
So because we put the fat side of the shim on the outside, obviously the outside or the lateral side of the boot is taller. So we just cut the toe so it's the same height all the way across, proper height for the binding.
Damn, dude, I'm balding. Once again, you're on the bad side. This is a sweet setup. This definitely fits. And it's just, dude, I have no legs. Wow, this thing goes way down.
That's what I'm saying. It goes on your knees, dude.
On the coat like this, I like the features. Like, to me, I'm a thumb gaiter kind of person. I use these all the time. I like multiple layers. I don't need one big coat because I like to layer up underneath. Big pockets are kind of sweet. Phone, protein bar, goggle wipe. I mean, we just don't go in. So it's kind of nice to have a lot of pockets to carry stuff. It's a nice jacket, I think.
Dude, could you touch on a 2-piece versus 3-piece boot?
3-piece shells, for the most part, are going to have a very progressive flex. So there's not really a stopping point, if you will. Now, with K2/full tilt, you can get different stiffness tongues, but you still don't have a situation where the upper cuff is coming down and hitting the lower part of the shell. So on a 2-piece boot, that's a stopping point. That's when the energy gets transferred to the ski. However, and this is changing now with different designs, before when the upper cuff came down and hit the lower shell, you'd have some shell distortion. So the shell would get wider, would move away from your foot. The concept with the 3-piece shell is that because that tongue is completely independent of everything else on the boot, then it doesn't create that widening or that flattening of the boot. So the lower shell stays true to your foot pretty well. 3-piece boots with that progressive flex are great. For impacts a lot, because you're not going to get bucked as much, right? You're going to have that smoother landing. That's also if you're landing switch, right? Same kind of thing. If you get bucked when you land switch, and that's going to throw your balance off. So I think from an impact point of view of cushioning the impact, I think three-piece boots do a really good job of that. In some cases, certain three-piece shells are going to be laterally a little softer too. I like that in certain applications, park pipe, moguls, things like that, where you don't want to get deflected out of your line or off, any kind of impact. You don't want that to deflect you or hamper your performance. So sometimes I think a laterally softer boot is okay in those situations. Two-piece boots, laterally very quick, right? Because everything's wrapped around your leg here. So that's why you see racers on two-piece shells, because laterally they're getting the most amount of support they can. The energy is directed to the ski in, I think, in quicker bursts, right? So if you do have this situation where the upper cuff comes and hits the lower shell, when that maxes out, all that energy is transferred to the ski. In some cases, boots these days they have a spine connected top and bottom back here. That limits the amount of forward flex you're going to get, it limits the range of motion to some extent. But what it's also doing is when you start tensioning these spines back here, that's directing energy to the ski immediately as well too, without having your knee come too far forward. And actually, so that's allowing manufacturers to come up with a little softer plastic over the instep, so the boot's easier to get in and out of without sacrificing performance.
Tell them where people can find you, what store you're at.
You can find me at Cole Sport at the Park City Mountain Resort at the ice rink level.
There we go, let's go. Good job, dude.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, dude.
Later.